I built a computer and I'm jealous of it. How is this working out? Well, let's go on a little bit of a story before I talk about the parts that I put into the computer. Right now, I am using this computer sitting here at my desk, and I love this. I might actually go back to it after, but we'll just wait and see how the new computer holds up. So this is what I have on my desk. It's an HX99G. I wanted to go, a little bit bigger and faster in both the CPU and the GPU. And that's because I use this computer also for a little bit of rendering and some of the software that I'm using, like this thing that's doing the background blur thing whenever I flail my arms around. If I'm using an NVIDIA card, well, the algorithm, we're leaving it in. The algorithm is much better. That's the kind of respect the algorithm should get anyway. So we'll just see how it is. This show is brought to you by our biggest sale of the year. So check this out. I've got all this stuff on the shelves back there, and I want to clear out as much of this stuff as possible because when I move, these t-shirts are just going to be gone. It's fine to run around naked from the waist down as long as you're wearing one of these shirts, because everyone's going to be looking at the beautiful artwork on your shirt and they're not even going to notice that you're just hanging out. Yes. Also, all of our mice have flawless infrared sensors. This one is a larger mouse, kind of reminds me of the IntelliMouse shape, and then this one's a more right-handed mouse with a smooth texture. This is on sale for a stupid low price. Everything's half price after the coupon code Save the Shelves. So help me save my shelves while I help you get some cool stuff. By the way, this is one of the best membrane keyboards ever, and for $20, I'm not even going to talk about it too awful much. It's a stupid good deal. Mouse pads, everything I've got here on my shelves, except for Gaben, he's sold out. So everything on my shelves, half price. Head over to epicpants.com and use the coupon code SAVETHESHELVES. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. Here's what I decided to base the system on, because it's small and extremely powerful for the size. In fact, I don't think that there's anything else on the planet that's as fast as this at this size range. And that's because we have the Ryzen 9 7945HX under the hood. And it comes pre-installed on this motherboard. It's like all integrated. It's basically like a mini PC form factor, just an ITX board. So this CPU and motherboard combo are really interesting because there's a lot of them out there that are like 8 cores, 10 cores, whatever, 12. This is 16 cores, 32 threads. Before we even get into anything else, I'm going to show you the benchmarks from both my PC. I've got a 5950X. It's a big, beefy, system. The 7945HX, I think it's like 55 watts compared to mine, which is like a gazillion watts or something. This is my computer. My multi-core is 22588. Shut the f*** up. Oh my f***ing God, Microsoft. Jesus in Christ. I feel like I'm on some spam website. What the hell? So look at my multi-core score, 22588. That's on my 5950X right there. My single core score on my 5950X is 1549. Compare that over here to the single core score of 1955 and the multi-core score of 33028. I can't believe how much faster it is than the 5950X. This is a beastly CPU, and this is a tiny beastly CPU. And that makes me jealous because it's not my main rig. It can't be my main rig because I need extra PCI expansion slots and PCI Express expansion slots. And this only has one. But it's cool that it has one because that's more than many PCs have. So this is what I'm going to put in there. This Gigabyte 4060 Ti that I grabbed on Temu. And these things, they keep going on flash sale. So this, when I got it, it was like $270 something. So you got to watch for these stupid flash sales over on Temu. They happen all the time, and it's just like you go to the main page and just see what's on the flash sales. I don't understand how they do it. And honestly, I don't use Temu to buy many things like this, even though I think maybe I should. I probably should grab some of that and wear the body stocking. Well, maybe I'll start grabbing some of this fast fashion, but I think I'll just keep coming here for the flash deals on technology because, this is kind of ridiculous and it's extremely fast and it's been working without a hitch. And that's going to give me, I'm only doing 1440p, but that's going to give me enough horsepower to run everything I want to run. And if I decided to start streaming again, which I keep saying I want to do, then this would be amazing because this will be my streaming rig. All right, I'm going to keep going through all the parts that I'm putting in this and we're going to come back and talk about it just a little bit more. So for the case, I've got this one. I'm showing you turquoise because it's beautiful. And this Thermaltake case is one of the biggest ITX cases that I've seen, and there's a pro and a con for that. Pro is that it's enormously moddable. You can get all kinds of different things because every single panel on this comes apart. Like you can rearrange it and make it into stuff. I guess you could put like a little screen in the bottle. They've got the LCD kit. So you can do a lot with it. I'm not going all out with the RGB because there's no RGB header on this motherboard, or you know what? I would be going RGB on this. I'd be probably making like some mood lighting. If you got a mod to make this into a lava lamp, I'll take it, Thermaltake. They don't have that, but that would be really cool. You can get screens. They have a screen. You got a little LCD right there on the block. What's going on? That's ridiculous. So yeah, it works for all kinds of things. There's cutouts for your 240, 280 rads and all that. Plenty of room for fans. It comes with a couple installed. There's one on top that is, I guess, exhausting out the top, 120 millimeter fan, and then another 120 millimeter fan right on the back. So that'll exhaust out the back, but it's right behind the motherboard, and the motherboard tray area is a complete like mesh area. So there's a lot of airflow options. And speaking of airflow, everything has a dust filter. I'm not editing nothing. I've had a rough day, y'all. So everything's got a dust filter. There's a dust filter on the bottom. There's dust filters on the side. Dust filters on every little thing. So as you're taking it apart, you're gonna be like, oh, there's a dust filter here. So it's a dream to build in because there's just so much room. Clever routing holes everywhere. It looks so clean once it's finished. The downside is it's really big. For an ITX, it's like 3 or 4 or 5 times the size of some of the ITX systems I've seen. You could pretty much turn this into a micro ATX system, and with all the room we have on the top, I wish there were like an extra spot because the motherboard mounts vertically and all the cords come out the top, and it's kind of a weird thing because there's no cords plugged into the back. They're all like internally plugged in and then they route out the top. So much room in there. I feel like it would have been cool, even if it's only, has mounting spots for ITX. It would have been cool if there was like another bracket there with some extra USB or something, depending on what we're doing. That would be really cool in my opinion. But we don't have that. I feel like there could have been room for that. Anyway, I really like this case. Glass everywhere. It's beautiful. If I get another one, I'll get a turquoise because, it's really nice looking. And maybe I'll get a bigger one because that way I could have some extra expansion, but I don't know. I think I chose wisely on the case, and then I decided to stick with Thermaltake for also the fan. Now this is the fan that I'm going to mount on top of the motherboard. The cool thing about this motherboard is that it already has a heatsink pre-installed on the CPU. And this version has a heatsink on the M.2 as well because it's PCI Express Gen 5, which is way too freaking hot right now. So we've got that there as well. But this has a little bracket, and you can just pop a 120 millimeter fan right down on top of that. So I got this, the SWAH fan. Thermaltake, is that like the joke from like the helicopter, Rafflecopter goes SWAH, 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 SWAH? Is that what that is? If you don't know what that is, you probably think I'm crazy, but if you just look up my Rafflecopter goes SWAH Gen Z, then you'll understand what us old internet people are talking about. So this is excessive, but I feel like it's not as excessive as I first thought it was. I say it's excessive because you have 3 sets of fan blades and then 1 fan, and it, you can swap them out. And the one I'm leaving on there is the one that's high static pressure, but then there's also one that's high airflow that like directs air into different areas like that. And then the last one is a reverse. So why would you want to do this instead of, because you're not going to be able to use all 3 of those? Is that just extra stuff you're buying to just have? But I thought about that for a minute and I was like, I would kind of rather just be able to buy one of the 3 because I'm only going to use one of the 3. But then I thought about this for a minute because there are so many times when I'm doing a build and I go and I repurpose a fan from another system or whatever. If I was going to repurpose this fan and I was like, I want this to be a case fan, I could swap it out for the high static pressure to the high just airflow, and then put that as one of my case fans. And then instead of having to redo everything, if I needed to flip it around, just swap out the blades for the reverse one. The reverse one is kind of like cool, but I think I'd rather just turn the fan around. But if you can't do that or whatever, I don't know, maybe it's special, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool and it's nice and quiet, so that's a bonus. All right, for the power supply, I decided to go with overkill for a couple different reasons. I went with a bronze power supply right here, and keeping with the Thermaltake here. Thanks very much, Thermaltake, for sending these over, by the way. This bronze one, the BX3. The thing that I really like about this is, number one, it's quiet. It's really well made. It's also $79.99 for a 750 watt power supply, and these things go on sale here and there. So, it's 750 watts, and it's bronze rated at 750 watts, but I'm not going to be pulling that much power. I'll be pulling, closer to 400 or 500 most times. And when you're running it at a lower power like that, then it's going to actually perform better. And then if I need to upgrade, or if I want to move to a bigger system, or if I want to repurpose this later on, I'll have, the extra wattage that I need. And bronze is totally fine. As long as it's 80 plus, then you're totally good to go. But I feel like this is going to be fancier for me. Also, this is ATX 3.1 compatible. Okay, now this build does not need that much. I've got a couple different things here from Team Group. Got this T-Force GE Pro memory. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and see how fast this is. I've got 2 terabytes, PCI Express Gen 5. Let's do a test. We're at 40 degrees during the hottest part right here. This right, that is so freaking fast. And we're at 43 degrees. So that cooling fan and heatsink that's on top of the M.2 is really doing a good job Also, the M.2 itself has a graphene heatsink, so that's on there as well. So we got a graphene heatsink plus the crazy cooling that's going on. And look at that, 42 degrees. That is stupid cool for a PCI Express Gen 5 by 4 M.2. And that speed at that temperature is something I've never seen before. All right, so there you have it. This thing screams, doesn't get too hot. Randoms look good. Yeah, let's take a look at the IOPS while we're here. And look at those IOPS. I've never seen IOPS like this. This is ridiculous. All right, so we know it's fast. So for the memory right here, I've got 64 gigabytes of Elite DDR5 laptop memory, and this is also from Team Group. I've had a lot of success with Team Group's memory in the, I guess, recently or whatever. The last few machines, I've got several different sticks of it, a 32 gig kit, and now the 64 gigabyte kit. And I got the 5200, but the funny thing is that the motherboard says that it supports, I think, up to 4800, but it's running at 5200 and it's running okay. And I haven't noticed anything weird going on so far. I thought I was going to be able to get this and then go into the UEFI on the Minis Forum BD790i and just say, okay, set that at 4800, but doesn't seem to be any way to change that. In fact, there's not too awful many settings that I can change in the UEFI. It's kind of locked down, almost feels like a mini PC and not like something you're going to customize and build yourself. You're not going to be overclocking this thing, which is probably totally fine for most people because it's already so fast out of the box, you don't need to. So yeah. Anyway, let's go back and talk about this motherboard for just a minute, because this is the one thing that I both love, but both am having second thoughts about. And the reason I love it is because it's so stupid fast, has so many options when it comes to, expansion for what it is, the extra PCI Express slot, but then it also doesn't have enough options at the same time. And what do I mean by that? Well, on the back, we've got 4 USB and 1 USB 4. While I don't love the fact that we don't have a lot of USB on the back or a lot of front ports and all that, I do think having the USB 4 is going to be totally fine, because I can always get something like this, 40 gigabits per second of bandwidth. I'll be able to hook up pretty much all this stuff and not really worry too awful much. So, I don't want to have to spend the extra money, but something like this would be really cool. You put the system on the side and this on your desk. And if I wanted to save a little bit of money, I might go over here and look around on Temu and just see what I can find, because sometimes you get some of these unbranded things, and as long as they're up to spec, they can do a pretty good job. So I might try out one of these. I don't know. It just depends. Otherwise, depending on what the sales are for Black Friday, I might just spring and buy one of these Acasis 21 port 40 gigabit per second hubs, and then I think I'll be totally fine. If I just had a few more USB ports, I wouldn't have to do this, but USB 4 is nice. We've got 3 fan ports, which I think are enough for something like this. I've got them all populated. The one there nearest the RAM, that's going to be for your CPU. There's also a tiny little 4-pin fan port, but that is for the PCI Express Gen 5 cooling unit that goes on there. Comes with one. It's very slim, so if you're going to replace that with something else, I don't recommend doing that. It's too slim. It's going to be difficult to find a replacement. Now, as far as the USB onboard expansion, as far as front panel and stuff, we've got one USB 3.2. So that's all we've got for that. We don't have USB-C. Out of luck right there. So no USB 2. I don't know. I feel like I would have traded something. I'm not sure what, but I feel like I would have traded something for just a little more USB. But that's me. I'm an expansion freak. I need to plug up 9,000 things. If you don't need to plug up 9,000 things and just one, USB 3.2 on the front is all you need for 2 ports, 5 gigabits per second, you're good to go. And you can use the USB 4 in the back to plug up whatever else. Now, there's a couple different options as well I wanted to mention, because this one comes with 2 PCI Express Gen 5, and when we got PCI Express Gen 5 right here, these things get really hot. If you want to step down, save a little bit of money, they do have another version that has PCI Express Gen 4 for the M.2, which I think is probably just fine for 90% of the people out there. And that one is called the SE. So the BD790i SE. So right down there you can see. And that one, like I said, it just cuts a couple of corners, but I don't think anyone's going to, care that much. Still has the PCI Express Gen 5 X16 connector, but it's just your M.2 are going to be using PCI Express Gen 4. They're having a Black Friday sale over at Minis Forum, so yeah, go ahead and check that out while you're on the internet. Let's go ahead and test out the system and see how it runs. I'll do some benchmarks and everything else, play a couple of games and just see how they run. Let's have a look at Valley, and of course it's going to be extremely fast. Wow, this is a new widescreen interface? Interesting. So FPS 252 and a score of 10,543 for this 4060 Ti. Let's check out superposition. I ran this on 4K optimized, so if you want to check with your system at home and see what the difference is, this one taxes both the GPU and the CPU. Our score here is 9827, minimum FPS of 61.29 and a max of 89.42. You can see the average there, 73.5. Let's have a look at Baldur's Gate 3. I'm playing this on 1080p on the Ultra setting, and I've got all the smearing, smudging, and generation or whatever, all the AI super resolution stuff. All that stuff's turned off because I want just as pristine of a picture as I can get, and I think I can do it just fine with this setup. So here we are. See what we got. Yeah, we're running 120, 130 FPS, so this will probably even play well at 4K. I don't have a 4K monitor right now because I don't use 4K monitors, but yeah, 1080p is ridiculous. 1440p will be ridiculous as well. Sorry, I'm not going to test that. I just know. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing to see. So smooth. Now, this will be a little bit lower once we're in the cities. Let's see if we can load up a city here. All right, we're here in Rivington. See what's going on around here. 59. I'm totally fine with that. We're close to 60 at pretty much all the time in a, let's go this way where there's more geometry and stuff. Yeah, I'm really fine with this. So even in the city here, going that direction, 52. I'll play it this way. I don't think I'll turn on DLSS because I like being able to clearly see the characters. So you see when I turn on DLSS, the hair shimmers a little bit. That's the thing that bothers me the most about it. I'll show you right now because people argued with me about this. They're saying, no, it's good. See, when I'm moving, watch the hair. It does weird things. It kind of shifts and shimmers a little bit. Most people don't care, don't notice. It's pretty good though on quality. But, as you can see, we got a little bit of extra FPS. Just a little bit there. We got 67 or whatever. Yeah, they're just the anti-aliasing inside the hair there. It looks very good on this game compared to some others. So it might be okay, but I'd rather not have it if I don't have to. So I don't have to for this game, so I'm not going to. All right, Cyberpunk, doing a little high benchmark here. Well, this is the ultra ray tracing setting, but I've turned off the motion blur, so it says custom because I hate motion blur. And I'm very satisfied with these results, but I probably want to turn it up even higher. But 75 average with a minimum of 67, that's going to feel so smooth. So that'll be just fine, but I'm going to play it on 1440p. I don't have a 1440p monitor to test right now, though, so sorry. Not on this benchmark setup. So I thought maybe if I ran 1440p in window mode, I'd be able to see. The numbers look pretty good. This is, 1440p, just completely maxed out ray tracing ultra, but I can't see what's up here on the top. I thought maybe I would be able to get creative and come over here and move and then be able to move it around, but I can't. It won't let me, even though it's not on borderless, it's on full. But I'm not gonna go plug this into my 1440p monitor because I've been having one of those days. So we're done. It runs fast enough for me. Alright, so I've been running Ada 64 now for almost half an hour, but I can't wait any longer. I've got stuff on the stove. So it looks like we've hit a maximum of 87.9 C, which is well under the TJ max, and for the small heatsink, I think that's probably okay, and especially since we're not going to be running it at 100% all the time unless we're rendering. And let's see, right about now we're just idling around 82, which is, it's a little bit warm, but again, I think it's a trade-off for, the size and just what we're working with here. Alright, let's check and see how loud this is. Just chilling in here, it's about 45 decibels. I'm gonna put this just a couple feet away and we'll see how loud it is. I mean, you can definitely hear it 49.4, but it's not that loud. So these fans and this combination of the case, and even though it's mostly open, not extremely loud. And it's a constant sound, so it doesn't whir up and down, which I really appreciate. So there you have it. I think the system's pretty, but you let me know what you think. And we'll see in a month or two if this is what I'm gonna end up using or if I need to go for something with way more ins and outs. Hopefully the USB 4 will get me by, because this is so stupid fast. I'm going to use this CPU for so much rendering and stuff. Anyway, save the shelves, 50% off on anything I have stocked here. That means a lot of these t-shirts. This feels so good. All this hardware that I'm, not going to be using, just whatever I've got here, it could be yours. And then mouse pads, t-shirts, mice, keyboards, everything 50% off. Head over to epicpants.com. All right, let's play some music and I'll see you later.